Hey, how's it going? Today is the day we've been waiting for. Today is the day at least I've been waiting for. The PlayStation 5 is finally here. Time to open up the first box. Box number 2 here. PS5, PlayStation 5, 8K, 4K 120, HDR. Now, 8K gaming isn't supported right out of the box. Sony is going to have to release an update for that later on. That being said, most people don't have 8K TVs at home, so I don't think they're in a rush to do it. I don't even have a 4K TV to play this on, so I wouldn't be waiting for the 8K update anytime soon. Obviously, the console, fine to get the DualSense controller, base, HDMI cable, AC power cord, USB cable, printed materials. Astro's Playroom comes pre-installed. On the back, see, play like never before, lightning speed, breathtaking immersion, stunning games. That's just French. So, 825 gigabytes of storage. Another look at the system. Time to open up the second box. The box within the box. Here's another box. You're supposed to tell me how to keep this upright. Take this out. Power cord for the system. USB Type A to Type C to charge the controller. Printed materials. Not as fun. These are books. What am I supposed to do with books? High-speed HDMI 2.1, which supports up to 4K resolution at 120 frames per second. Here is the stand. There's a little trap door that reveals a screw to keep the stand upright. And last but certainly not least, we have the DualSense controller. Now this is my first look at the DualSense controller. It's bigger. It's grown up. It's gone through early adulthood from the DualShock to the DualSense. Put on some muscle. Comparing the DualShock 4 to the DualSense, there's obviously a few things different. Like, the button layout is going to be exactly the same from the two in terms of buttons and the actual joysticks. But one thing, for instance, the light bar on the back is now gone. And they've actually taken the lights and they've put them on either side of the controller here. Still have that big touch bar in the middle of the controller, which is very useful. Usually it's just set to the map button, which is an important button to have in most games. The biggest thing about these controllers is they have these new dynamic adaptive triggers. Usually a trigger is kind of just a simple button. It has a spring, you press it, you let go, comes back up. These new adaptive triggers are programmable. Depending on what game you're playing, it'll give you more resistance. So the most common example is if you're in a game and let's say you're pulling a bow and arrow back, as you pull it back, you're going to feel more and more resistance and it's going to be harder to press. At some point, actually, you're not even going to be able to press the button at all. So it's going to be interesting to play some games with this and see how that feels. This new controller has an immersive haptic feedback, which is going to be a completely new motor system to make you feel like you're that much more inside the game. This also matches the design aesthetic of the other accessories that I've previously unboxed. White being the main color with some black accents to it. And once again, you have a texture pattern on the back. Now this is to give you more grip, but Once you zoom into this, you're gonna see, or once I zoom into this, you're gonna see that it has that same embossed triangle, squares, X, and circle pattern on the back to give you grip. Finally, click this in. That's it. Ooh, that's pretty simple. In case you're wondering how to unbox properly, this is an exciting moment. Christmas has come early. And there you have it. This is my first look, my first-hand look at the PlayStation 5. This is a big system. I've seen videos, I've seen the teardown of it, and it's always, the first thing people say is always, this is a big system, but until you actually have it in front of you and you see it, you don't really understand how big of a console this is. The same design as the accessories that I opened earlier. You have white being the main color, glossy black being the accent to it. This is the venting down the middle of the system. It's often being referred to as the Stormtrooper colorway. It'll be interesting to see what other colorways they decide to come out with. On the back, you have the power cable port, your HDMI 2.1 output, your LAN Ethernet input. You have two USB Type A ports and Kensington lock. On the front, you have a USB Type A port for charging, a USB Type C port. You have an eject button and a power button. So unlike the PS4, these are actually clickable. Let's say you have a PS4 sitting at home. Compared to the PS4, this is a very big system. So here you have the launch PS4 compared to the launch PS5. And most of the dimensions, I guess it would make more sense to go this way. In most of the dimensions, other than depth-wise, the PlayStation 4 is a much bigger system. So outside is like a smoother matte finish. On the inside here, once again, that same pattern of embossed triangle, square, X's, and circles. Once we zoom in, we're gonna get a nice look at that one. And it gives you a sort of texture to it. Don't recommend you do this at home. These come off extremely easily. Now you have a bit of a look at the internals. Here's the fan, which is channeling air through the front. It's gonna circulate it through and then channel air out the back. Here, to suction out some of the dust that collects. One problem with the older systems is they be quiet at first, and then after, let's say, a year or two, they collect dust in the system just from dust floating in the air. There was no way to get it out. So PlayStation made it easy for you to, one, take the cover off, and two, clean it inside. This slot right here is going to be for expandable storage. Eventually, PlayStation is going to release a way for you to expand the storage yourself. If, let's say, the 825 gigabytes that it comes with isn't enough for you, there's going to be third-party partners that are going to sell an expandable storage that you can just, there's a screw here, unscrew it, slide it in, there you go. You've got more memory if you're running out of space for games. Right here is the HD Blu-ray drive. And even just looking at it like this, without the actual panels on, it's a lot smaller. So let's say if you were to just remove this HD Blu-ray drive and you look at the system and how much more narrow it is, that's pretty much what you're going to be getting for the all digital version. Now let's say if I were to compare this to the PlayStation 4, it's a lot more comparable in size, or it's pretty much the same thickness when you look at it this way. Obviously it's still not as deep, it's obviously still taller, but this gives you a sense, I guess, for the internals of the system. Let's see if I can put this back on properly. How to break your PlayStation on camera. Oh. Okay. That was a nice click. Time to put the stand on. I'm just going to show you how it kind of inserts in here, and it makes it more sturdy. Now it's going to stand up, it's going to balance like this, but just a bit more security for your brand new console. Now let's say if I want to put this in horizontal mode, I'm going to spin this, lay it flat here, and now you kind of have this floating look to it, right? You kind of have a floating look to the system because you can't necessarily see the bottom of it from your angle, so it's kind of hovering above the ground here. Now, depending obviously on the entertainment system you have, you may or may not be able to do it this way. It's an option to setting this up. Most people usually lay their consoles flat. This may be one that you have to stand up because it's not going to fit anywhere flat. Now, I haven't really gotten to try out the DualSense yet. I just took it out of the box, but I'm looking forward to trying out, the dynamic adaptive triggers and the new haptic feedback that they have. From what everyone says, it's truly next generation. The first game I'm going to be playing, Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Launch Edition. Looking forward to getting this going. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the PS5 and if you were able to get your hands on one, or maybe you're waiting a little bit. If there's anything you would like to see me test or try, leave it in the comments below. Hit the like button if you like this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. It really helps out a ton. On my way to 20 subscribers. Please subscribe. Until next time, take it easy. Peace.